Hey, howdy ho, everybody. Welcome back. This is Postmortem Nightshade, one half of the wonderful Ghastly Ghost Birds. And joining me today is.
Salathro, what's
Let's
up?
go! Let's go! Welcome back, everybody. It is so good to be back for week number 3. This is our third video, believe it or not. And in the spirit of the holiday season, we are keeping things on a roll with a tier list. So,
Woo!
I personally enjoy these kinds of videos a ton. What about you, Slothro?
Oh, I always love a good tier list making video. There's a lot of really cool ones out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, same. And so our tier list obviously is going to be ranking Christmas movies, the holiday spirit. But happy holidays to everybody out there, no matter what holiday you celebrate. We love having y'all here. But Slothro, would you like to go over our tiers for our ranking list?
Yes, I'd love to. So, at the very top, we got S for Santa God tier, absolute peaks of cinema. You've got Alright, Let's Go, which is our A tier. You've got Brightly Lit, Not Too Bad for our B. You've got Could Be Better, Not Gonna Lie for our C. And Damn, That's Bad for the lowest tier.
Nice. Alrighty, so let's just kick it off strong. And we are going to go ahead and start with the first one here on our list, which is Rise of the Guardians. So, where would you rank that, Slothro? A great movie from, I believe it's DreamWorks.
Yes, we're actually starting out really strong. Me personally, I love this movie, at least when it first came out, because it kind of captured that sense of wonder. And I haven't seen a lot of Christmas movies that kind of do a similar premise to this and at least execute it as well, I think, as this movie did. And the fact of like the villain, the music, the story's engaging, I definitely, in my personal opinion, I would still probably give it an A, just because it's a fun watch.
Oh yeah, I agree. So we're on the same page. I gave this one an A tier. The animation style, character work, voice acting, the music, the story and idea is actually super original. I don't think I can ever think of a movie that's similar to this in premise, and it introduces a character, the Sandman, that I wasn't really super familiar with. But yeah, this is just a phenomenal movie. Looks like we're both in agreement. Super easy start. Wonderful start. We're going A tier for Rise of the Guardians.
And just a thought on that movie too. I wonder, is it the same studio that made the movie Home? Because the animation style looks very similar, at least to me.
I do believe it DreamWorks was Home, but let us know in the comments. Fact check us. Was Home a DreamWorks movie? Yes or no? But I do feel like this animation style was a little bit more unique and very more, it made the world feel more lived in, I think, than Home did.
Yes, it made it feel very believable, this world. So
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Rolling right along. Looks like our next movie up here is Gremlins. What are your thoughts on Gremlins?
the little hobgoblins. Yes, it has been a minute, but I do remember this movie being kind of kind of like an acid trip the first time I watched it. Kind of seeing them kind of go from like 0 to like 100,000, like all over like I'm pretty sure it was a town, right? In this movie, they're kind of just
Yes.
swarming and like attacking the townsfolk.
Yeah, just a town, just a town.
Yeah, that I remember it very. It had a lot of like funny gags. Definitely kind of more in like a horror kind of vein, but definitely not as nearly intense as like a normal like slasher or anything like that. It's very much kind of like a more intense Home Alone if the if like the kid was tiny and there was like 500 of them. But I would say for this one I gave it a B just because for its time, like the puppetry, the visuals, like the set design. I don't remember much about the music. I don't remember if it was absolutely slapper, but I think at least from like a visual standpoint for its time, I think it deserves a very good B tier.
Yes. Okay. I could see the B tier. I'm kind of looking, starting off with Rise of the Guardians is so strong. I do love, I'm a horror girly at heart. I do love the Christmas horror vibes that Gremlin brings. I remember this was kind of like the first, I don't know, horror adjacent movie I saw at about 13. And it scared me so bad. I thought the kitchen scene is really horrifying. And I also thought the scene where the Oh, also, spoiler alert! Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers for all of these movies.
Yes.
um, I thought that the scene at the end where the gremlin is attacking the main character with a chainsaw, I thought that was super horrifying. So I'm thinking about it, looking at Rise of the Guardians. Yes, I initially had put this in A tier, but I think I could agree on putting it in the B tier.
Because it's not a bad movie at all. It's just Rise of the Guardians is a very well placed package throughout all of it, and Gremlin definitely has a lot of really like good moments. But throughout the whole thing, if like me just trying to remember back, there wasn't. I can't remember the whole film going back to it, I guess. So it wasn't as memorable as something like Rise of the Guardians for me, at least.
Yeah, I would say that's a good metric. Memorability is, I think, one of the most important things when it comes to a movie.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, moving right along here into our most recent movie breakdown. Please go check it out. It's about a nice long 40-minute video opening up the holiday season. We did Violent Night. Where would you rank that movie since we just actually watched that one?
So after just like having it fresh in my mind, watching it, I have to say it has a very good overall package. I like the overall feeling of the movie. The messaging of how, like is also very like it's very Christmas themed. I think the music placement, the sound effects, like the visuals, are all pretty solid for I think the budget that they had. Story wise, I thought it was pretty good. For me though, I would probably still say it's a B tier for me, just because it's kind of not like it's not one I'd rewatch again. I guess I'd rewatch it like every big once in a while, but it's not like I'm gonna come back every Christmas wanting more of it.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this movie, story wise, was not super. Like, the premise is really fun and interesting, and I think they execute on that really well. They keep the Christmas theme all throughout. They're fun and campy. They don't take themselves too seriously. Like you said, the soundtrack is really great. There's a lot of heart in this movie. I don't know if I liked this movie as much as Gremlins, so for me, it's personally a C tier. How would you feel about that, or should we move it to B tier?
I think C's fine. It's kind of in that middle ground ballpark anyway. It's just kind of what it is.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And then moving on here, I know that these movies can be controversial with their kind of creepier stop motion animation style. So the first one that we have here with that stop motion old vintage feeling is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh my goodness. What a classic this one is. Just the memes from this movie are absolutely fire. I'm sure you'll be able to show some of them, but I think my favorite is definitely the "Why weren't you at elf practice?" Because there's so much continuity you can do with that. But I think personally, for the time that this movie came out, it is an absolute. It's been a classic for years, for decades. It's very memorable. Like the thought, like just getting to see kind of Rudolph's story, kind of where he started. See the adventures he gets to go on and see some of the challenges he faces up to being able to be, I guess, the head reindeer for Santa Claus. It's all very, very well put together. And you even get to know a little bit more about an elf character that kind of helps Rudolph as well. And so you kind of get to watch this duality story take place. I will say the visuals for a kid were definitely a little bit off-putting at first, but the older I've gotten, the more endearing. And you can kind of see the heart that was put into making this kind of movie. It's definitely not easy, stop motion animation. So for me, I personally gave this an A, just because I think it's withstood, at least story wise, the test of time for Rudolph.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I also gave it A tier just because, like you said, the vintage aesthetic, the stop motion of it definitely kind of freaked me out a little bit as a kid, but I definitely watched this every year growing up. I think it's one of the only stories I can think of off the top of my head that actually stars Rudolph as the main character. And I love the endearingness of the little, what is he? He's the villain, kind of, but not really. He's the abominable snowman. Came to me. I
Yeah.
love him. So easy peasy, going an A.
Let's go.
All right. And A Christmas Story is up next.
A Christmas Story. Whoa, boy. I've seen this movie. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've seen this movie. And I think there are a lot of solid, funny moments in this movie. Because I'm pretty sure, isn't it a comedy movie, I believe?
Yes, very heavy comedy.
Okay. So for the comedy aspect, there are a few gags in there that I think are pretty funny. Unfortunately for me, though, watching this movie, each time I've watched it, it just never really like clicked with me like it has with some people. Like there's definitely some funny moments in there. The soundtrack's very unique. And definitely like the aesthetic is very like 80s movie coded. But for me personally, I gave this movie a C just because the few gags that made me kind of like chuckle weren't probably enough for me throughout the movie. But it's definitely not like a bad, poorly made movie. It's kind of like a cult classic, you know, kind of like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But I just personally am not as big of a fan, so that's why I put it in C.
Yeah. All right. I know this is going to be controversial. This movie plays on repeat. People love this movie. They quote it all the time. It's a classic for a reason. I don't really like this movie. I I don't know. It just never really clicked with me as a kid. The scene where the kid sticks his tongue to the pole like scared the crap out of me growing up. Um but just like I don't know. I've never really liked this movie as an adult. I didn't like it as a kid. I would say as like a film quality movie. And I understand. This is probably a very hot take. So let us know in the comments whether or not you like A Christmas Story. If it's a classic to you, if you don't really like it, if you're mid on it. But I would probably say filmmaking wise, this is definitely, I agree, a C tier. But my personal feelings on this, it's definitely D tier. I don't like this movie. I don't rewatch it. But I'm going to put it in C with you because I think filmmaking wise, C fits it well.
That's the only reason personally I think why I give it that is because for film wise it's very well set up for the time period it's in. But yeah, no, I wouldn't choose to go out of my way to watch this movie either. So I'm kind of in a similar boat with that.
Yeah, same. Okay, cool. We're on the pretty much the same page so far. And one that many people probably don't put on their list, but is a classic for me. I love this movie, so spoiler for my take on it. This is Barbie in the Nutcracker. It's actually one of the, I think, first or very close to the beginning of that first string of Barbie movies.
Ah, yes, the Barbie movies. So unfortunately for me, I really enjoyed them growing up as a kid, and I've gotten a lot of funny gags out of them as I've gotten older. I will have to say though, the Nutcracker one is actually one of the weaker ones in my opinion. It's don't get me wrong, it's got a lot of really good visuals. The story for it is very funny. It's got a lot of good gags. The villain is very interesting to watch, kind of seeing it all play out until the end. It kind of gives me Polar Express energy in that way. But I'd definitely say for me, it's definitely the more weaker one out of the other ones I've seen. But it's still a pretty good movie. I gave that one a B. Because I think visually for its time, it was really well made. The music, the story, the messaging, just the overall vibe was really good.
Nice. Okay, so this is interesting. This is the first one where we differ. Because I gave Barbie and the Nutcracker an S tier. I loved this movie as a kid. The outfits, the characters are so memorable. The bat sidekick was like one of my first introductions to like goofy sidekicks in kids' movies, and I just loved those. And it's just, I loved it as a little girl. It was so pretty and sparkly, and the snow was so beautiful, and the music, of course, is, I mean, it's a classic. It's beautiful music, and I've actually seen the stage play, so I have some of that real world connection too. So, I give this S tier. So should then, because we were right in between, give it A tier just to be in the middle of the two of us.
Yeah. I think that works. I would agree with that.
Cool.
Because it's not a bad movie at all. It's just, it didn't click for me like the other ones I've seen has.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And moving right along, easily top three. This might be my second most favorite Christmas movie of all time, A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna get me started on this movie. this movie, I'm just gonna tell you right off the bat, this is an S tier movie for me easily. I enjoy the animation, the story of it is timeless. It gives you a very simple message, but a message of kind of peace and hope, and it definitely makes you feel that Christmas spirit. I'm a big sucker for Charlie Brown, so the music, the art style, the characters, it's just very pleasing, and especially the music. Oh, the jazz music that they play in this movie goes absolutely wild. And also, I honestly kind of related to Charlie Brown in a lot of ways, and so I think just growing up, this movie is kind of like, has like a nice place in my heart of probably one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time.
Oh yeah. I second that. I immediately put it in S tier. This movie is so warm and cozy. It's amazing because I think it's great for the whole family. It's not very long. I think it's between 30 and 40 minutes. So it's a nice, brisk little get some popcorn and a few cookies, sit down with anybody. I watch this by myself all the time. It is a great way to get in the Christmas spirit. Like you said, the music's amazing. The story, this movie actually is super funny. I love the snark and the just like adult uh discussions these kids have. It's so funny in the context of everything that's going on. The art style, like you mentioned, is amazing. So yes, S tier all the way. I love this movie. Second most favorite Christmas movie of all time. Definitely, I just love it.
Oh yeah, and if you haven't watched it, please watch it. It is definitely worth it is definitely worth the 30-40 minutes to watch the movie.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Please check it out, please. And okay, moving on to something much different than Charlie Brown Christmas is the Polar Express.
Oh man, okay, let's go with this one. I have a feeling we'll probably differ on this one. But I'm actually surprised to see how close we are. So this movie growing up, I loved this movie growing up. It was probably one of my favorite Christmas movies to watch. But I've noticed as I've gotten older and gone back and watched it, it hasn't clicked the same for me as it did initially growing up. I think the art style is really good, but I don't think the visuals have aged very well on it, unfortunately. I do like the conductor is probably my favorite character in this whole movie. I love the music actually. The music in this is great. I love the messaging, especially by the end. It gives me a lot of like peace by the end of the movie, and helps me kind of contemplate kind of my life and my thoughts. And kind of a side thing, I love the closing song. I forgot who sings the credits music, but he's a really famous musical artist, and his music is always really, really good. So, in my personal opinion, after going back and seeing it, I'd probably give this movie a B.
Okay, that is very interesting. I hated this movie growing up. The art style of this movie freaked me out as a kid, and going back as an adult, it freaks me out even more. And there is that horrifying scene where he is passing through the train car with the puppets, and it scared me so bad as a kid.
Oh, it was the same for me too. I hated that part of the movie.
I had to close my eyes or skip it every time. And so just like, I agree though. I loved the music. The music was really great. And I love the concept of like this journey to help kids believe in Santa Claus and to recapture some of that magic, or just to help them feel that magic a little bit more if their home life isn't so great around the holidays. I think that's all great. The animation style really, really threw me off as a kid and as an adult. So I actually gave this movie a D tier. So
I had a feeling I was not going to put it S tier because I loved it a lot growing up, but as I've gotten older, I kind of gotten a similar thing. I'm like, this hasn't aged as well.
So where should we put it? You initially said B, so should it go C as our rule of like being in between?
I think so.
Okay.
It's kind of unfortunate just because of the music for me and the conductor. And also the if you haven't watched the movie, the homeless character that I think is supposed to be like Christmas Past or something, they're absolutely hilarious in this movie. But other than that, yeah, I think this is a pretty good rating for what it is.
Awesome. Cool. All right. And now I know this might be crazy. I never watched Home Alone growing up, so I actually only saw Home Alone for the first time last year. So take it away, Slothro. What did you think of Home Alone?
I actually second what you say. I've only seen this movie once. But from when I watched it, I think it was pretty solid. It kind of gives me almost like Toy Story vibes, but in like the 80s in like live action. It has a lot of like little gimmicky things, like the kid sets up traps. He kind of gets forgotten about by his family, unfortunately, and has to stay home while his house gets invaded by two robbers. And as the story progresses, there's a nice little part in there where he actually gets to befriend their older neighbor who's going through a lot of hard times during Christmas. And I think that personally was probably one of the more interesting parts of this movie. For me, at least, it definitely was kind of like okay. It kind of gives you a little bit of reflection. You can see the characters sell that reflection very well. And then I think the ultimate best part of it is just the funny gags that the robbers get into. They kind of remind me of the two henchmen from another Barbie movie that I'm sure we'll talk about later down the line. But I would say it's pretty solid. I would probably give it a B tier.
Nice.
Probably.
Awesome. Yeah, so I actually really liked this movie. Unlike A Christmas Story, I can see why people love this movie, why they rewatch it all the time. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was I agree. I thought the messaging and like the feeling of Christmas is very strong in this movie, which interestingly is not to be said for every movie on this list. But it's very cozy, it's fun, it's goofy, the physical comedy, the two robbers, it's all amazing. The soundtrack is great. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this movie. I think it's on my list to rewatch this year too. I actually gave Home Alone an A tier. So yeah, I really liked it.
I would honestly, I kind of switched with it. I did initially have it at A tier, but then the more I thought about it, the more it went to B. So if you put it in A, I'm a go for it being in A.
Okay.
So
cool. Well, let's put that in A tier. All right, moving right along here. Frosty the Snowman, our second movie when it comes to that. This isn't necessarily live action stop motion. It just kind of has that more vintage cartoony feel.
yeah. I would definitely say this movie is another classic, kind of like Rudolph for me. I grew up watching this movie as a kid. It meant a lot to me getting to see like the fun dynamics between the characters, the music, the animation, and of course the villain. In most Christmas movies is always an absolute classic. He is very funny, very, very childish, which I think matches the energy of what the movie was going for. Going back and watching it as an adult, though, you can definitely tell the movie the audience was made for. But I would definitely say overall, it's got a lot of memeability for funny gags. And just for nostalgia, I probably gave it an S just because of it was a very common movie for me growing up as a kid, and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. No, I love that you gave it S. That's not what I was expecting, so that's a fun surprise. I gave Frosty the Snowman a B or A tier. I was kind of open to either or. And just the reason is it's a little bit shorter than Rudolph, and I think it's a great story. Like you said, I love the villain in this movie. He's like, as a kid, I just ate that up. I thought it was so funny. I think Frosty's a great character. I think he's definitely the best part of this movie. I definitely rewatch this all the time. I quoted it a lot, but I just think overall is like, I don't know, just the feeling it gave me or like the quality of the movie, it definitely is a B or an A tier for me. So, but yeah, I still like it. I think it's good. I think it's great for just like a movie to throw on for your kids around the holiday season. So, what does that put us? A tier then in between the two of us?
You can honestly put it A or B. I would be happy with it either way. I personally really enjoyed I think the villain is probably like what you said, my favorite part. So just for him, I'd put it at A, but I think other than that, it'd fit in a B tier. So
cool. Well, I'm good for A too. I love the villain. All right, and spoiler, this next movie we're doing is The Santa Claus, and I'm already getting out of the way. This is my favorite Christmas movie all time. Like, oh, you guys, it's so close. The Santa Claus and A Charlie Brown Christmas are literally like neck and neck for my favorite Christmas movie. So take it away, Slothro.
This will be very interesting for where this goes. So, me personally, I have seen the second movie more than the first one. So I personally, whenever I think of this series, always think of the second one compared to the first one, which I don't know how people feel about the second one as much as the first. But as the second being my introduction, I have always enjoyed watching the first just because of its antics and having Jack Frost. The first one for me, I rewatched it, I think last year or a few years back. And it was a really good movie. It has a lot of really good messaging for it. It reminds me of another movie that's not as well known called Down and Derby, at least in terms of visuals. I like the messaging it gives, especially for kind of the holiday season and kind of having that spirit of Christmas. It's done in a very funny way. The music was pretty good, but I would say overall for me, this movie, I would actually give it a B compared to the second one.
Okay. Oh, that breaks my heart, but I understand. This movie is very sentimental to me personally, which is why it's an S tier. I saw this movie growing up a lot on TV. when I was a lot younger. It would play on TV all the time, and I just loved it. I loved the idea of going to the North Pole. I rewatched this in the last couple years, I think. His little kid, Charlie, is so cute, and he brings so much heart to the film. And I just love the feeling that this movie gives. Like, it is the most cozy Christmas, like, oh, it just is the best. I can't even describe. I just love it. It's perfect to me in every way for a Christmas movie. But you gave it B tier, so that means we have to put it in A tier, right? That would be the middle ground.
I would say so, yeah. Which is, I think, fine for the movie because it's a movie you could easily rewatch over and over. So.
Oh yeah. Okay, and a movie maybe some of you have never even heard of. I would not be shocked. Well, let's see. I believe this one's name is also really weird. Let me find.
Nutcracker in the Four Realms. Is that what this one is?
Yes, thank you. I was like, I know it's the Nutcracker, but it's got like extra words. Yes, the Nutcracker in the Four Realms. What did you think of this movie?
Okay, this is kind of a funky one. So if you guys have never seen it, I would honestly recommend watching it once just because of the absolute trip that you'll be on for this one. It's kind of like if you take like the Barbie antics of like that Barbie movie we discussed prior and threw it into like like Oz the Great and Powerful. It's kind of like a mixture of those two movies. So it's live action. There's a lot of CGI. It's very much the Nutcracker story, but there's a lot more that kind of plays into it. There's like a lot of like battles or like nutcrackers fighting nutcrackers. You know, that's all flying around. So I would say this movie, visually, I don't think was too bad. I do feel like it was kind of all over the place when I watched it, and it did not hit nearly as much as like say like the Barbie and the Nutcracker did. So for me, I'd give it a B, mainly because I think the visuals were really well put, but I would say everything else was kind of just eh.
Yeah. No, I gave this movie a D tier all the way. This movie was a product of that weird everything has to be CGI era, like pre-COVID, post 2015. They got a lot of big names for it. I don't think the concept was, it was like a reimagining of the Nutcracker story, but I agree. It's very much like if you threw the Nutcracker idea just into the Oz Great and Powerful realm, or even like the remake of Alice in Wonderland. So
Yes,
yeah,
yep.
this was D tier for me. It wasn't memorable. I didn't think it was very original. So yeah, I said D tier.
Okay, I would be fine with it in D tier. It can be
Okay.
our first. It could be our first D tier. I honestly I can remember like 2 seconds of that movie. So
Okay. Well, this is another classic we've got coming up that a lot of people love, and it's a Wonderful Life.
this one. Okay, so let me pull this up. It's a Wonderful Life. Okay, I watched this in theaters once when it came out. It was during the holidays, of course. And for the one time I watched it, I think it was very solid for a kind of like it kind of gave me La La Land energy, but like not nearly as bombastic. And I don't think it's a musical, right? I think it's just like a regular movie.
Well, this is the movie that. Are we thinking of the same movie? This is the one from like the 50s with like the guy who is like deaf in one ear.
Oh, my bad. I'm thinking of a totally different Christmas movie.
I
My
was
bad.
like,
Okay, my bad. Anyways, my brain is twisted. It's a Wonderful Life. My bad. It's the old classic movie where I'm pretty sure an angel comes down from heaven to try to show a man kind of who's in this like in the slumps of his life, kind of the value, especially around Christmas time, of what he has. And as the movie progresses, he starts to realize the importance of the things that he owns, or like his family, his wife, his house, his job. Even I think he has a car. Like he loses his car, and so it's got a lot of very adult themes in it, while not being like a kid could definitely get by and watch it. It's not like explicit or anything, but it's definitely got a lot of adult tendencies, themes that can get people thinking about the true meaning of Christmas and I guess just gratitude in general. And so I personally really liked this movie. Even though I haven't seen it in a while, I remember fondly the interaction when the angel first appears to the main character. It's very funny, especially after the circumstances that kind of befall that meeting happening. So I would say I give it honestly an A, even though it's a very old movie. I think it's still got a really good messaging in it.
yeah, no, I agree. I This movie does have very adult themes, trigger warnings, deeper concepts of taking one's own life. There is some, obviously, like Slothro said, it's not explicit, but it's implied. So there are those darker elements there. I remember as a kid, this movie kind of freaked me out. That concept that you could be stuck in a world where nobody knows you and doesn't remember you. And that was a scary concept to me as a kid. But I think this is a great movie. I think there's a reason it's classic. It's held up very well. It's mostly in black and white. I don't think until the very end does it transition to being a little bit in color. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think this movie is a great rewatch. I don't rewatch it that much just because it kind of makes me sad, even though the ending is super happy. So I gave this movie a B tier.
All right. Yeah, I think we can go with it being in B tier. I think it's definitely not as rewatchable as some of the other movies, and especially for all audiences. So I think a B is pretty good.
Okay. All right. Okay, moving on to another one that I know that maybe some people aren't super familiar with. I think this is only because I was at the right age for when this movie came out. Arthur Christmas.
Ooh, I yes. So if you were kind of around, I think we were probably similar ages. I think it came out similar times to like Rise of the Guardians. I think right, or like within a few years of each other.
Yes, yes, I believe so.
Okay. I personally really enjoyed this movie. At first, when I was watching the trailer for it, I was like, "This looks really funky." I don't know. It's giving me like Despicable Me energy, but not nearly as despicable, in a joking manner. But I was pleasantly surprised when we went and watched it for the first time with me and my family, and it was very engaging. Very, it kind of has a lot. It has a lot of heart. I think is the best way to describe it. It I think actually even tackles a little bit of mental health in a way for the main character and for the original Santa that was there, or their generational Santa. And so as the antics grow, by the end of the movie, there's a lot of really interesting messages that come away from it that kind of show you the importance, I guess, of Christmas, kind of like, the other movies of Christmas time. But it's told in a way and portrayed in a way that can give you some laughs along the way. And so for that alone, I gave it an A tier.
Nice. Yeah, I liked this movie. I thought the animation style, I'd agree. It's very much the Illumination Studio type animation. Definitely of its era. I think it will be something that's kind of a bit of a time capsule when we get further in the timeline here. But yeah, I think it's a sweet, cute Christmas movie. It definitely probably leans for a younger audience more than maybe like a family Christmas film, if you will. So I gave this a B or a C. I could be swayed either way. But yeah, I didn't feel strong feelings for either way. So where are you leaning for this one?
It can go for a B. There'd be other movies I'd choose, but I think it's a solid choice of a movie to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Perfect. Okay. Well, our tiers are filling out in the middle for sure, but our top and bottom is kind of just singular ones for now.
Yeah, I think it might change soon, but we'll have to see.
Right. All right. And another one. There are just some that I'm realizing some people might have never even heard of are on their regular Christmas rewatch list. Uh, I'm sorry, I tripped over my words there. Christmas rewatch list. But Last Christmas, what did you think of this movie? I believe I saw this in theaters when it came out. Did you, Slothro?
Yes, that this is the movie I was thinking of.
Oh,
I got this one confused with the other one, and I was like, oh wait, what? And then once you mentioned it, it's like, okay, now I know. So yes, this movie I've seen it once in theaters. I believe me and you postmortem both went and watched it together. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I do remember it definitely is like it's more sad by the end. So kind of like La La Land of it's kind of joyous. You get a lot of good happy moments towards the middle, and then by the end of it, you're kind of left with like, oh my goodness, kind of very sad, but it kind of closes on a I don't think it was a positive, but a content note to kind of close it all off. So it's kind of like a drama mixed with like I don't know, like a slice of life kind of movie. So I would say personally this movie was pretty good. Definitely every once in a while rewatch is great for it. It's filmed very beautifully. It's all very very well made. I would give it definitely a B tier for me personally.
awesome. Yeah, I agree. I also gave it a B tier. This movie is very much like It's a Wonderful Life. It's one of those ones with heavy, very much more mature themes. It takes place in England at Christmas time, so it feels very cold, but also like when you go indoors, then you get that cozy feeling. So it kind of conveys like that the chill in the air and then the warmth of indoors being with family. But yeah, this movie definitely has heavier themes. The ending is devastating, so just I will forewarn you. It's definitely like It's a Wonderful Life. It's definitely a sadder, heavier movie. So I agree. I would put it in B tier.
Yeah, and it's very much, it just gives me La La Land energy with that like happy to like sad tone by the end. So
Yeah, I agree. And this one, you all can fight in the comments. I have no skin in the game either way. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Is it a Halloween movie? Is it a Christmas movie? Who knows? I'm sure that we'll also get flamed for where we put this, but what are your thoughts on The Nightmare Before Christmas, Lothro?
I think a movie can be for more than one holiday. I think this is a movie you can watch for either holiday, personally, because it's got both of it kind of in like a really well placed package. For me personally, when I was growing up, I never got to watch this film, and there was a lot of claymation films when I was growing up that made me kind of scared. It was a very, I guess, terrifying art style to me. But once, I think a few years ago, I sat down and watched it, and it was a lot different than what my childhood brain expected. And I was pleasantly surprised. The music is it's very classic. The characters are very unique. The art style, of course, it's claymation, but it's very well made. I'm pretty sure it's Tim Burton that made it, right?
Yes, it's actually, I remember watching a documentary about this a long time ago. It's called Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but he didn't actually direct it. It was directed by somebody else. But yes, it's
Oh,
kind of from his brain.
okay. Um, But yeah, either way, it's very much. I think it's a very solid movie. It's got a lot of interesting messages. The ending for me personally is not probably my favorite ending to a movie, but I think it's a solid ending to a movie overall. I think definitely my favorite parts of the movie are like the first 30 to 40 minutes of it. So personally, I think just for nostalgia reasons and kind of it giving a more positive taste in my mouth, I'd give it either an A or a B, but I'd probably lean more towards A tier.
Yeah, awesome. I'm also between A and B tier. I could be convinced either way. I actually got to see this with like the musical score being played live in concert, and let me tell you, that is the way to watch this movie. It makes it feel so much more lively and immersive. Not that this movie needs to feel more lively, but it just added to the experience for me. But yeah, I also did not grow up watching this movie very much. I had seen it maybe once or twice. I definitely saw it like the whole way through cognizantly as an adult. And so I like it. I think that the characters are interesting, the world building's interesting. Um the music is very like odd. It's very unique. I will say that in a positive way. So I would say B or A tier. I mean, what should we put it in, Slothro?
Um, I want to say more towards B, but I know we'll probably get absolutely lit on fire. So I would say probably just throw it in A.
I'm
I
okay
think
getting flamed if you are, because honestly, I agree. I would also probably put it in B.
okay. Let's get flame for this. I'll put it in B. I will say though, it has a lot of good memes in it. At least personally, like I know it's probably like a lot of people don't think it's a meme, but the Bone Daddy part near the beginning, it's a classic for me and the people I hang out with personally. I think we've even joked about it post mortem a few times of the Bone Daddy joke.
Yes, I love that line. I think it's great. If you don't know what we're talking about, watch like the first 30 minutes of this movie and turn up your volume. It's hilarious. Okay, speaking of memes, it's a great segue. Krampus.
Okay, this is I'm gonna come out right off the bat. This is my D tier movie. This movie, watching it, I saw the trailer for it when it was first initially released. I saw it multiple times because it was running through ads. I personally was not a fan of it. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, because it was uncanny and I didn't really know what to expect from watching it. And then years later, I got the opportunity to watch it, and it wasn't nearly as scary as my mind had made it, but it definitely was not a particularly good movie. It visually, I think, for the puppetry and everything they do for it, I think it's some of it's puppetry, some of it's CGI. I think overall, it's well made in that aspect, but it's definitely a movie that, for me, it's one and done, or if I'm rewatching it, it's for like a gag or something. So I think personally, I'd put it in D tier.
Yeah, I'm sad because the memeability of this put it up to a C for me, but I would say as a filmmaking perspective and everything, I would give it D. So I'll go ahead and I'll put it there with you because I get it. It's very memeable. There is a scene, if you have seen this movie, where the uncle gets dragged out of the window and it has a Looney Tunes like sound effect of him being like whoop, like dragged out the window and just like broke all the tension. Died laughing the first time I watched this. So it's
Oh
a
yeah.
fun. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing with you. I was saying that part threw me off. I think like all of my thoughts were just like, what the heck is this, like a Looney Tunes cartoon now?
Yeah, right. And it's like it's a horror Christmas movie, which I love. You know, we need more of those. So I watch it just for that aspect. It's a fun watch with friends. I will tell you that much. I believe Slothro and I have watched this with our friends on a couple of occasions, and it's always just a funny, gaggy, great time. So if you're looking for something like that, this is a great option for you. But it's definitely not a top tier Christmas movie by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, it's kind of one I would agree. Just watch it with friends. You can watch it every once in a while, and you'll get a funny laugh. But it's definitely not a very invest while Christmas movie.
Yeah, I agree. And moving in the complete opposite direction of Krampus, we've got a recent release in the last few years, The Holdovers.
Oh my goodness, I this is an S tier movie for me.
Oh, same.
For a kid, definitely not. A kid would think this is probably D tier, but for me personally, when I initially watched it, I was very confused at first. I was like, okay, this is going to be a very interesting movie dynamic. It kind of gave me like vibes of other movies that I'd seen that kind of tell a similar premise of like school and stuff. But I think within like 40 minutes, that all flips on its head in a very interesting way that it kind of becomes like a very psychological analyzing of like each character, and not like a scary way or anything, but in a very like methodical way. And it gets you really thinking about the messaging that's in this movie, especially within the last 30 minutes of the film. That's when crap hits the fan the most for this movie, and it is very touching to watch, especially the choices that are made by the end of the movie and what the reasons why they're made. I think personally, this movie, for at least for an adult audience that wants a really like, if they want like a unique message or just a fun, like very nice, deep and methodical movie, this is easily one that you can watch during the holidays. I would definitely rate this an S tier for sure.
I agree with you 1,000%. I loved this movie. I believe it is shot, probably I would guess on film, is what gives it that kind of vintage look to it, that kind of grainier feel, which just adds to the element of like the setting and like the feeling of winter at this like big boarding school. Like the setting is gorgeous, and we basically follow three main characters through the whole movie and just like get to learn about their lives and their backstories and just watch them interact and grow together through this holiday season. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. Very emotional, very moving. Definitely more for adults, but highly, highly recommend. Phenomenal, phenomenal film. S tier all the way.
It just actually reminded me, it's like a very serious version of Nacho Libre, at least for the first 30 minutes of it.
Yes, the first 30 minutes are they're kind of all over the place, which is fun because when you're out of boarding school or out of school in general, then things are just like super chaotic and all over the place. And then it really settles into that like three characters following them through their journey. But yeah, that is a funny comparison. And moving to a much lighter film, Elf.
Ooh, Elf. Elf is a very good movie in my opinion. It's probably the go-to rewatchable Christmas movie. At least for me in recent years, just because of its overall messaging, tone, and the way it's shot. It does a perfect job with the music, the animation that they use in some parts of it to live action, the set design, the comedy, just all parts of this movie it's very funny. And I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of memes of it float around throughout my observance of memes. And so I would definitely say, for me personally, just for nostalgia, I would say that this is an S tier just because it's just a very good overall package to watch.
Oh yeah, I am in 100% agreement. Elf for me is an S tier. When it comes to like most quoted, most memed, most rewatched, Will Ferrell is phenomenal in this movie. I think this is easily one of his most iconic roles, which is saying a lot because he's just done so much and he's so funny that I love this movie. I rewatched it every year, sometimes multiple times a year for Christmas. And so yeah, I agree. Couldn't have said it better myself. Everything you said, it's great. I love it. Please, if you have not seen Elf, go check it out. It's amazing.
For sure.
Okay. I've been dreading this one. This was a last year release. Red One.
Okay. Do you want me to go first on this one?
Go for it.
Okay. Where to begin with this movie? So there is a lot of very good performances from these cast people in other products. But them all combined in this one, I don't know what the heck happened, but it does not go well. Very much from a visual effects standpoint, there's a lot of messy bugs. There's actually someone I watch a lot that kind of goes into it. If you guys have ever heard of Corridor Digital, they actually go into some of the visual mishaps in this movie. And it's very whack when you watch the movie and seeing them happen. And then being able to slow down and see them frame by frame, it's very uncanny. But for me, I think there are parts of this movie that could have been really good. It kind of gave me like it was trying to become like its own like universe kind of vibe of a Christmas movie, which for this package was not going to work to begin with. It's not very memorable, honestly. So I personally give it a D tier. It's just not a very good Christmas movie.
Yeah, I think our reactions initially when I said the name were going to tell you guys where it's going to end up. Yeah, this movie is a damn, that's bad. This movie was awful. I hated this movie. It is so freaking long. Why is it this long? It didn't need to be. And like Slothro said, the visual effects are mind-bogglingly bad. The acting's bad. The story is bad. Everything is just bad. It's so one note. It is so soulless. It has no Christmas like heart to it at all, which I feel like is an accomplishment as a Christmas movie. Like that's the bare minimum. It's not good. It feels very much like Amazon just dumped a bunch of money into it and was like, yeah, sure, it's got big actors and it has a big budget, but it is not good. It's not a good Christmas movie. I hated this movie, so I agree. D tier all the way.
I'm pretty sure it had advertisements in it too. It has a beach scene in a Christmas movie, which if it's done right could work, but the way they did it, it just did not did not combine very well. And then at the end, you basically have a kaiju fight between an old lady witch person and Krampus. So if you want to see Krampus shirtless, ripped, and have a redemption arc to become an anti-hero for some sort of future movie of Krampus like Venom, then this is the movie for you. But if not, and you don't want to watch two kaijus fight, this movie is definitely not, I would not recommend this one.
Yes, just for the length alone, I would not recommend sitting through this. It's not worth it.
It gets boring after the first like 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, well, now that we got that unpleasantness out of the way, we are down to our final two movies. Again, God tier property. I love The Grinch so much, but we have both Grinches on here because they are both great for different reasons. So the first one, the original, like 30 to 45-minute short, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. What are your thoughts?
Oh, this is interesting. So I've gone back and forth between A and B on this one. It is one I've watched growing up as a kid. It was very memorable. The music was very, of course, absolute bangers all around the board. Getting to see Max and the Grinch kind of interact with each other. It's a very engaging story, and the messaging in it overall by the end, it kind of gives you the message that it wants to give, and I think it does it very, very well. The visuals haven't aged as well, but the art style is still really, really good. But I would say overall, me personally, it's sad for me to say this, I'd probably give it a B, but I still would highly recommend if you haven't seen this to definitely give it a watch, because I think for the messaging alone, it's very good.
Yes, I loved this movie growing up. I still love this movie. I think I have this on like the limited edition 4K re-release or whatever it is because I just love it. I quote this movie all the time. I think it's just a super great, like, vintage feel Christmas movie. It definitely gives me, like, similar warm feelings that I get from watching a Charlie Brown Christmas. Like Slothro said, the dog is so cute. I love Max so much in this movie. And it's just a great, great film. I gave this S tier, but I definitely understand why a lot of people would not rate this so high. I think some people actually might find the vintage like animation style a little creepy. So I think does that move it for A tier in between
I
us, Slothro?
I think so. Yeah, it'll be A
Okay,
tier, which I think is perfectly fine for this movie.
awesome. Okay,
So the new one with Benedict Cumberbatch as the lead actor. Um, I did not know how to feel. It was kind of like, when Chris Pratt was announced as Mario, you were kind of just like, let's see how on earth this is going to work. Having Benedict Cumberbatch be the Grinch is definitely a contrast to, the classic and then, the live action Jim Carrey version. So I was very interested to see how this movie goes. And it was done by Illumination Studios, I believe. So it was like a combination of, okay, let's see what happens. And I was pleasantly surprised when this movie came out. I did not expect this movie to be very good in my eyes, but by the end of the movie, I think they did an absolutely solid job with everyone in the cast. I think Benedict did a good job as the Grinch for what he was doing. There's definitely some memeable content in the movie, which I thought was funny. Especially, I think it's a West Side Story reference with the carolers as they snap and chase down the Grinch while singing. I thought that was probably the funniest part in that whole movie for me. Just because you just don't see carolers like become like a whole like mob of attack against like just a random character. It was just very I did not expect it, and I thought it was very, very well put together. I thought it was funny. But I would say for the overall package and just for everyone watching it, I would say that this is probably a solid A tier movie.
awesome. Yeah, so we're in agreement about the last one. I think this easily can sit side by side with the original Grinch. I think that the animation style is, your normal current day CGI animation. Of course, Max is just as cute in the remake as he is in the original. And I agree. I was kind of shocked that Benedict Cumberbatch was announced to be the new Grinch. I was like, oh, okay, that's a unique pick, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And he does a great job. It's so good. And I agree with you. This movie has a ton of heart. The comedy was actually very surprising to me. I also found it very funny. But yeah, the ending is very sweet. They give the Grinch a little bit more backstory here. Yeah, it's just a really good, solid remake of the movie with a lot of heart. I know, family wise, this is very popular with a lot of my family members and their kids. They watch it a ton, which I think that's awesome. Like, it's a new generation of Grinch, and I think it's a really great heart-filled version, especially if you have kids that haven't maybe seen the original Grinch or might find it scary. I think this is a great remake, and I definitely agree. A tier for sure.
Nice. This is an absolutely fire list right here.
This is a go-to list. I think this is amazing. But as per usual, the best part, let us know in the comments. What do you agree with this on? What do you disagree with this on? It's always great to see people's take. Let us know what your tier list is. But I've Postmortem Nightshade. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Mostly I do movie review content. And then Slothro, where can they find you?
So you guys can find me on Instagram or you can find me on YouTube. I am actually about to release a YouTube video soon as of the making of this video or the recording of this video. So if you guys want to come over and check it out, I'd love to see you guys and see your guys' thoughts and reactions. But yeah, just continue to give us love and support as we continue to try our best, and we hope that you guys overall enjoy this content. And if you have any sort of thoughts or even like recommendations that you want us to review, we're more than happy to look at those as well.
Yeah, definitely let us know. Please like and subscribe. Give us your thoughts in the comments. And thanks for joining us here on the Ghastly Ghost Birds channel. Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye.